All right, welcome everybody. I'm Ed Cruz, and this is the last lesson. And we are shooting more video today. Today is episode 63. 63, nothing is random. It's kind of cold this morning. Let me have a sip of some kind of coffee. So, the discussion, and those all my topics basically, when we say we practice Wing Chun, we do Wing Chun. Wing Chun in itself is what? Is a way of life, a way of understanding things, a way of living things. And when I say I talk about this particular subject, this is not something that is unrelated to Wing Chun. Like I said, there's no aspect of Wing Chun that doesn't cover any other subject, every subject that exists. So the idea that nothing is random ties in with the subjects I've talked about before as far as the world being perfectly balanced. Every action has a cost involved with it. And lately, there's a lot of things that we see on the news all the time that things should be free, or this is free. And the reality is, it does crack me up that we said, oh, this is free. You're given something free in any sense or in terms. But the reality is, everything has a cost to it. Everything. If you really think about it, if you really take a step back and tuck away that ego, there's a cost to everything that you do. So when I say nothing is random, it ties into the concept of things being perfectly balanced. Every action that you do has a consequence to it, and karma is a bitch. All right, and in the sense that I think I've said it before, that I don't believe in luck. I believe that you make choices or you don't make choices, but actually not making a choice is a choice in itself. Because when you make choices, like I said, choices that you do, and let's say you do it in the right sense of things, it's towards your goal, you're trying to create a balance for yourself. So by that, you're trying to put yourself in a stronger position, a better position, as opposed to you don't make a choice or you make a bad choice, then life itself will create the balance for you in itself. So I guess the concept I want to say is basically that nothing of randomness does not occur because everything has a price to it. Like, if we take the old days of the sacrificial virgin or King Kong, right? King Kong, they took the blonde chick, they wanted to sacrifice its Kong. There's a cost to everything that you're doing. So in Wing Chun, or in anything that you do, if you wanted to get it good in Wing Chun, it really depends. It really depends not so much on your physical, financial, or whatever skill that you, or whatever position you have. It asks you, how much are you willing to pay? How badly do you want it? Because in this lifetime, I basically believe you can get whatever you want. You can't have everything you want because there's no way to spread yourself out in so many multiple directions that you want. But you can get the specific thing that you want, and what are you willing to sacrifice and work for it? So that ties into the idea that nothing is random. It's like all of a sudden, why, for example, just off topic a little bit. Why, for example, you see there's a show, I think, I don't know what it is, TLC, maybe History Channel, I have no idea. It's where they follow and track all the people who've won the lotto. And for the most part, all those people who won lotto, and you're like, wow, you won lotto, problems should be solved, 50, 20, 100 million. And in turn, their life, for the most, the show is, most shows are very popular because people like to see disasters happen. There's not that good, feel-good kind of feeling shows anymore. So you see a lot of people who won the lotto, and their life turns out very, you would think it'd be happy-go-lucky, but that isn't usually the case in a good percentage of the videos that they show out there. Why is that? Because there's a balance. There's a balance to something like that. And if something's given for free, somewhere, somehow, there's got to be a balance to that as well. Talking in economic terms too, over the last 2 years, a lot of things have been given free. There's been a lot of printing of the US dollar and so forth like that. And everyone's like, well, that's great. We can print more money, more and more money. The reality is, no, you can't do that. There's the law of supply and demand. There's basically printing, the value of the dollar isn't based off the printing of it. Like, technically, money in itself is all worthless, right? It's basically what's back behind it, and which is the basic U.S. government or U.S. economy overall. So the more you print, the more you give. People are all happy, but these same people are enjoying getting free money and so forth. They don't realize that, now you see the ramifications of what's happened over the last 2 years. That what's occurred. Now your dollar, that you're thinking, I got all this free check. What you actually got now is actually even less than what it was before. The current rate of inflation that they were talking about was 8.5%. If that actually is the actual number. So I know I'm ranting off in the randomness of this. I just want people to understand that there's a cost to everything that you're doing, and that cost leads to a result. So that result is not just a random act that occurs. So in essence, when you want to get good in Wing Chun, the question of what are you willing to sacrifice to get to that point? What are you willing to give Kong? Is it one blonde? Is it 20 blondes? Or maybe half her foot? Whatever the case may be, there is a cost, and that the end result of that will eventually pay off to what you're willing to do. So never think that, oh wow, it's so nice that I got this for free. Giving something is good, right? Like the example is like, oh, I saw this homeless guy, and then I gave him some money, and then I feel better that I helped this individual out. Seems good, yeah, it could be the case, but at the same time, you could be encouraging him to just stay homeless, right? Instead of and see. So every act carries a cost to it, carries a balance to it. It's not just being good; it could be bad also for that. Or you give money to help that individual out. Instead of him doing something with it good, he can end up buying drugs with it. So you gotta remember, perfectly balanced, yes. Nothing is random because you make choices and the choice has a result of it. And from those choices that you make, there's a cost always to it. It is unavoidable, okay? So in the long run, I ranted and raved over multiple things here and there that occurs in everyday life. Remember, right? Bid your due, make a choice, create the balance for yourself overall, and in all honesty, it's just like your stance. If you can make yourself solid as an individual, all the outside forces doesn't matter, because if something does occur, you can make that adjustment right away. But if you put yourself in a situation where, okay, I'm dependent on something, then you're gonna have to wait and then react and deal with that. And then, that's, I guess, there's, you could say that's a Wing Chun way doing it wrong. But in the end, hopefully you get the gist of what I'm trying to teach at this particular lesson. All right?